Hello guys, welcome back to the channel for a brand new video. Today we are following on with our Batman movie review series and we are looking at Batman and Robin. In today's video we are taking a look at Batman and Robin, which released in 1997. That was in fact the year that I was born. The movie is directed by Joel Schumacher, and a little fun fact, Tim Burton had no involvement in this movie whatsoever. This does serve as a sequel to Batman Forever, and it is the fourth and final installment in the initial Warner Brothers Batman movie. So if you didn't know that, now you do. Batman and Robin did have some slightly different changes to the casting. Val Kilmer does not reprise his role as Bruce Wayne and the Batman. We do instead have George Clooney. And I just want to say, George Clooney's performance sucked in this film. I know George Clooney can be a bit of a hit and miss actor, but for me, watching it when I was a kid, I loved it. I loved Batman and Robin. Obviously, it released the year I was born. I have a very sentimental place for this film, but George Clooney just does not do it for me. I think he makes Val Kilmer look like an incredible Batman, which is like questionable. But yeah, for me, I just didn't really connect to this character. I mean, I'm 24 now, and obviously I'm growing up. I understand movies a lot more, but I just don't like George Clooney as Batman. I think he is my least favourite Batman. Yeah, not a fan. We do have Chris O'Donnell reprising his role as Dick Grayson and the Robin in this movie, and I have to say I did prefer his performance in the first film, Batman Forever. Not so much in this one, especially watching it now in 2022. I think you've got to really blame the director for this and the writing the script. It all leads to a bit of a messy film, and unfortunately Robin doesn't really do it for me either in this film. I don't know, it just felt cheesy. I didn't like the lines. I didn't like his performance, unfortunately. But yeah, Robin's a pretty cool character, and hopefully we will see more in future films. Mr. Freeze is the main villain in Batman and Robin, and of course the character is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some of the lines that he had to give in this film, again, I have to blame the director. The writing and script for this film was so bad. It was just utter cheese, and there's so many puns and ice jokes. One of them was like, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! And you're just like, really? Like, it is what it is. One of the only positives that I still have to say to this day is the costume for Mr. Freeze is really cool. It holds up in 2022. There's never really been anything like it. I think the design was pretty good, and yeah, it's definitely a positive for me. Alicia Silverstone stars in this movie as Barbara Wilson, and she plays Batgirl. Growing up, I thought she gave a really good performance overall. She was young, attractive, popular, on demand. I think she starred in Clueless around the same time, I believe. But yeah, she was very, very popular back in the day, and Batgirl was probably the first ever female superhero that I'd seen when I was a kid. So I loved the character, I loved the costume, I loved the performance, and overall I just loved this film when I was a kid. But watching it now, I think her performance does not hold up that well. When you compare her to the likes of Brie Larson over at Marvel and Scarlett Johansson, there's other actors as well, but you know, she doesn't really compare to the two I've just mentioned. But it is what it is. We are getting a new Batgirl movie this year on HBO Max, which stars Leslie Grace, I believe. I've seen the costume for that, and I have to say it is comic accurate. It looks incredible, and I'm super excited to see more. Uma Thurman also stars in this film as Poison Ivy, and for someone who was coming off Pulp Fiction, I really was expecting a lot more. She was nominated for all these awards, and she just doesn't quite do it in Batman and Robin. Watching it back when I was a kid, I loved the character, I loved her performance as well. I just was so captivated with it. But watching it now, it just doesn't feel the same. Her acting was quite poor. The lines, again, that she had to deliver were just not great at all. It's a cheese fest, isn't it, at the end of the day? We can't do much about it now, but it just doesn't hold up that well. And for me, for someone of her calibre of acting, she wasn't great, but still pretty memorable. One other character that I would like to touch on very quickly is Bane. Now, when you look at this version of the character, you can tell that there is definitely inspiration taken from the comics, the animated shows and stuff like that, but comparing that version to Tom Hardy's version of Bane, there's no comparison and no competition really. Bane and Batman/Robin absolutely sucks. The acting is pretty much irrelevant. It just does not exist at all. The lines, he barely has any in the film. He's just there as Poison Ivy's muscle. And for me, if I could direct this film, I would have not included Bane at all. He just played an irrelevant part and he just got buried in this film. So yeah, not a fan of Bane in Batman/Robin at all. Now, the style of Batman and Robin definitely continues on from the previous films. You can definitely tell the inspiration from the sets and the costumes. So yeah, there is a little bit of consistency. The thing that goes wrong with this film, and when I say wrong, I mean terribly wrong, it is the writing, the script, the director, the cinematography. It is all absolutely awful. I do blame the director for this and his writing team because it does absolutely suck. Again, as I've mentioned previously, I loved this film growing up as a kid. This was easily one of my favourite movies growing up, especially from the DC universe. But watching it back now, I just feel shocked. And it is very interesting how you can grow up and see films in a different light. And unfortunately for me, Batman and Robin falls from top category down to bottom. It is currently my lowest rated Batman movie over on Letterboxd. I will reveal my rating at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. I have mentioned this in this video and in previous Batman movie reviews, but I do want to say that Poison Ivy's costume and Mr. Freeze's costume, even Bane's, I quite enjoy. Not so much Batman, Robin or Batgirls. I think they were a little bit, they just feel dated still, and the whole rubber look just does not do it for me. That is mainly because I think now in 2022 we are so used to the advanced materials and technology that we're used to. So yeah, we can't really complain too much about them, but for me, Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze, they had the best costumes in this movie and they still hold up to this day. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, Batman and Robin really does feel like one big commercial to sell toys. And I have heard quite a few people mention that in other videos as well. So let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. But when you watch this film back and then you look at all the products that were released back in 1997, it kind of does make sense. But you normally make a film and then you release your products. But I kind of feel like before this film was made, they had the products made ready and they based the film off the toys. And that should not be the case. You should have a really good movie and then sell the toys after the film. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Do you feel as if Batman and Robin was over commercialized? Let me know. I really don't want to sit here and bash this film too much and, nitpick, but you could do so for hours. There's a lot wrong with this film. Like I said, the writing, the script, the directing, it's not great, but I still appreciate Batman and Robin for what it is. Like I said, I loved this film growing up. It still is special to me. I do love Batman and Robin, but I love it now in completely different ways. It's more on a nostalgic level, and it's still a lot of fun regardless of that it may suck. But on that note, I'm going to give it a score of 5 out of 10. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to my thoughts on Batman and Robin. If you have liked it, please leave a like on the video. Hit that subscribe button for future videos. We do have some more reviews coming. We have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, all before The Batman on March 4th. So stay tuned for those videos. And if you haven't as well, go follow me over on Instagram. The links for those will be down below as well. But for now, guys, appreciate you watching. I'll see you next one.